Mina. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing something a little different. We're building an episode around a single idea, the Alcatel Mascot. Not just as a cute character on a screen, but as a real voice that can carry a podcast episode. Because here's the question: why do some mascots feel like background decoration, while others feel like they actually belong in your day-to-day life? Jules, and let's be honest, when you hear mascot, you might think cereal boxes, sports teams, or those slightly chaotic ads from the early internet. But in brand terms, a mascot is a shortcut to emotion. It's like the brand saying, don't just remember our name. Remember our personality. Mina. Exactly. And for a phone and tech brand like Alcatel, personality matters more than people assume. Phones are practical, sure. But people don't just buy specs. They buy confidence. They buy ease. They buy the feeling that this thing won't complicate their life. Jules, which is where a mascot can do heavy lifting. A character can translate tech talk into human talk. Instead of shouting, here are the features, the mascot can say, here's how this fits into your life. Mina, so today, we're going to unpack what an Alcatel Mascot's podcast episode could actually be. What would it sound like? Who is it for? And what makes it more than just a talking advertisement with background music? Jules, let's start with the obvious hurdle. If the mascot is the star, how do you keep it from feeling gimmicky? How do you avoid that hello fellow humans energy? Mina, you give the mascot a job. Not just a vibe. A role. For example, the mascot could be the curious guide. The one who asks the questions listeners are too embarrassed to ask. Like, what does RAM even do for me? Or, why did my phone get slow all of a sudden? Jules, or the mascot can be the friendly problem solver. Every episode starts with a real-life situation. Someone's phone battery dies halfway through a commute. Someone runs out of storage because their group chat is a meme factory. Someone needs a simple phone for a parent or a kid. The mascot walks through the solution without making the listener feel judged. Mina. And that's a huge part of the tone. The best brand podcast episodes don't talk down to people. And if a mascot is the voice, it has to be warm, quick, and relatable. It can be funny, but not random. It can be energetic, but not exhausting. Jules, let's sketch a possible episode concept. Imagine the mascot opens with something like, today we're talking about the thing everyone complains about but nobody schedules time to fix, battery life. That's instantly relatable. Mina, then you structure it like a mini story. Step 1, the chaos moment. Your phone hits 10% at 2 p.m. and suddenly you start bargaining with the universe. Step 2, the reality check. Battery isn't magic, it's habits, settings, and the health of the device. Step 3, simple fixes people can try immediately. Jules, and that's where the podcast becomes actually useful. Because the listener finishes the episode and thinks, oh, I can do something about this. That kind of usefulness builds trust, whether it's a mascot or a human host talking. Mina, another thing that makes mascot-led content work is consistency. The mascot needs recurring segments. Like a signature opening line, a quick tip section, and a listener question. You want listeners to feel like, oh, this is that show I like. This is that character I recognize. Jules, right. Recurring segments also keep it from sounding like a commercial. For example, a segment called Tech Myth or Tech Truth, where the mascot reacts to common misconceptions. Like, myth, closing all your apps saves battery. Then it explains it in plain language. Mina, and you can bring in real people too. The mascot doesn't have to be alone. You can do a hybrid format. Mascot plus a co-host who grounds the conversation. The co-host can say, okay, but what do we tell someone who has zero patience for settings menus? Jules, which is basically me. I'm that person. Mina, same. And that's the beauty. A mascot can represent the brand's helpful optimism, while the co-host represents the listener's skepticism. That tension creates natural conversation instead of scripted talking points. Jules, let's talk about a bigger theme. What's the mascot actually doing for Alcatel as a brand? Because this isn't just entertainment. It's reputation. It's identity. Mina, the mascot, can stand for values. Maybe it stands for simplicity. Maybe it stands for affordability without shame. That's important, because tech marketing sometimes acts like if you're not buying the most expensive phone, you're doing something wrong. Jules, and that's such a weird vibe. Most people just want a phone that works well, feels good, and doesn't create stress. A mascot can normalize that. It can say, you're allowed to want practical. Mina, it can also make the brand more approachable in customer support moments. Imagine a short episode series called Fix It in 5, where the mascot walks you through quick solutions. Wi-Fi issues, Bluetooth won't connect, storage cleanup, app permissions. It's basically customer education, but friendlier. Jules, and easy to distribute. A 2 to 5 minute audio clip can live everywhere. But the key is, it has to feel like help first, brand second. Mina, now, what about storytelling? Because podcasts live and die on story. Can a mascot tell stories without feeling childish? Jules, absolutely, if the story is human. The mascot doesn't have to be a cartoon voice doing slapstick. The mascot can simply be a narrator with personality. For example, meet Sam. Sam is starting a new job, and their phone is the lifeline for commute directions, calendar reminders, and that first-day nervous texting. That's a real situation. Mina, and then you weave in what matters: reliability, battery, comfort, camera in real moments, accessibility features. It's not look at this spec. It's here's a moment where this feature quietly saves the day. Jules, you can also use the mascot to create a safe space for tech anxiety. Some people feel behind. They feel like they're supposed to know everything. And they don't want to ask. Mina, that's huge. A mascot can say, if you don't know what this setting does, you're normal. That one sentence can pull someone in and keep them listening. Jules, okay, so what would the mascot's voice actually be like? Not the sound, but the personality. Mina, I'd define it as curious, practical, upbeat, and slightly mischievous. Like the friend who makes you laugh while helping you solve the problem. Not a lecturer. Not an influencer. A guide. Jules, and definitely not a corporate robot. If the mascot is going to host, it needs permission to be human. It can admit small mistakes. I used to keep 200 tabs open too. Stuff like that. Mina, let's build a sample flow for a single episode. Intro. One relatable hook. Then, a quick promise, like by the end of this, you'll know 3 easy ways to make your phone feel faster. Then the content. One idea at a time, with examples. Then a listener Q&A. Then a short wrap-up that invites feedback. Jules, and the call to action should feel like a conversation, not a billboard. If you want more Fix It in 5 episodes, send in your question. That's it. No hard sell. Mina, also, let's not overlook the community angle. Mascots work best when people can interact with them. So the podcast could feature real listener voice notes or written messages. Here's what you asked this week. That sort of thing. Jules, and it gives you endless episode topics. Because people always have phone problems. But they also have phone wins. Like, I taught my grandma how to video call. That's a story. That's a moment. That's meaningful. Mina, you could even do theme weeks. Back to school tech week. Travel week. Digital well-being week. Imagine the mascot talking about setting boundaries with notifications, managing screen time, or turning your phone into a tool instead of a distraction machine. Jules, that's the kind of episode I'd listen to. Because it's not about the phone. It's about life with the phone. Mina, so if we zoom out, the Alcatel Mascot podcast episode isn't really about turning a character into a host for the sake of it. It's about turning brand communication into something people actually want in their ears. Jules, and the recipe seems clear. Give the mascot a role, focus on real problems, keep the tone respectful, and build repeatable segments. Make it helpful. Make it human. Mina, before we wrap, let's each pitch one episode title we'd love to hear from the mascot. Jules, okay. why your phone feels slow, and what to do in 10 minutes. Practical, no shame. Mina, I like that. Mine would be, your battery isn't betraying you. Small changes that actually work. Jules, I'd click both. Mina, same. And if you're listening and thinking, I'd love a mascot to answer my exact annoying phone question, that's the point. A great mascot doesn't just represent the brand. It represents the listener's everyday reality. Jules, next time, we should design an actual recurring segment list. Like a real show Bible. Because this concept can go way beyond one episode. Mina, deal. For now, keep it simple. Your tech should serve you, not the other way around. And if a mascot can help make that feel easier, then honestly, that's a pretty good use of a character. Jules, alright, we'll leave it there. Talk soon.